You are Locked On Tigers POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Detroit on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
And away we go. How about that? The Detroit Tigers are back in the win column. It's so good to be on the air after a Tigers win. Welcome one, welcome all to a live edition of Locked On Tigers POSTCAST. I am your host, Jake Riepma. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake_Riepma. And oh my goodness, these are so much more fun when the Tigers are in the win column. That's the title of today's show. We're back in the win column a day. At times during that last 5-game losing streak, it felt like we might not ever get back to the win column. Let me try that again. It felt like we might never get back to enjoying Tigers victories, but alas, here we are. So let's break it all down. Tigers are back in the win column. Kenta Maeda's first start back since a brief stint on the injured list goes very well. And Colt Keith's first career home run. How about that? Thanks for making Locked On Tigers POSTCAST your one-stop shop, your destination for all things Tigers, immediately following the conclusion of today's game. First listen every day, free and available wherever you get your podcasts on YouTube, all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And today's show also made possible by FanDuel. That's right. Make every moment more right now. New customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 with any winning $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/locked-on to get started. I love that copy. It doesn't even try to entice you about anything. Oh, we're the number one sports book, right? No, it's just here's $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Go to FanDuel.com/lockdown. We're not wasting any time. So here we are. We got everybody joining us on the YouTube as we get set to break down a Tigers victory. Again, very, very enjoyable evening of watching Tiger baseball tonight because the pitching was good until the ninth got a little but is what it is. I'm probably way too competitive about stuff like that, but I audibly gasped when Chafin gave up the shutout there in the ninth. I went, okay, maybe it wasn't quite that dramatic, but you get the idea. But we'll take a victory any way we can get it after losing 5 straight coming into today. So series knotted up at a game apiece, a 4-game series against the Toronto Blue Jays over the weekend. Would love to see the Tigers obviously go win the next 2 and take 3 of 4. That would be some momentum, but we can only take it one game at a time. So thanks everybody for joining us. Born Cool getting in the comments already. A couple more of these in a row. Absolutely, Born Cool. We just got to start stringing these together and get back to winning series. Remember how much fun we were having in the month of April with 4 straight series victories. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. You're not going to win every game. There's 162 of these, but some notion of an offense being somewhat productive. The pitching staff, we know what they can do. The bullpen, I'm a little bit concerned about, but again, it's about winning series, and the Tigers gave themselves an opportunity to at least be in that conversation for the 4-gamer against the Toronto Blue Jays with tonight's victory. So let's break it down. A little game recap action for you in this opening portion of the program because I loved what I saw, and it's one of those examples of how much difference a day can make. And maybe last night, I should say, the Tigers still a little bit, I don't want to say jet lagged, but, first day back after a 6-game road trip, in the midst of a losing streak, things were not going well. And ultimately you weren't competitive. Oh yeah, we're gonna drop that one. Not competitive yesterday in a 9-1 loss, but here we are with a much more competitive effort. Did the Tigers look competitive tonight? It was great. What was the highlight of the game for you? Let me know in the comments. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to Locked On Sports Detroit. This is our home. This is where everything that is crazy going on in my brain. This is where it exists. Locked On Sports Detroit. Subscribe to the channel. Doesn't cost you anything. And like I said, this is your one-stop shop for all things Detroit following the conclusion of every game. This is our post-game show for Tigers, for Lions, and then for Pistons as well in the winter months. But here we are. Roll up the sleeves. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the Tigers' performance today. Demetrius McNeil chime in. The play of the game was Kerry Carpenter's outfield assist to throw Guerrero Jr. out at home plate. I love that. That's a great point, Demetrius McNeil, because and sometimes I like to do this, a little look at how the sausage is made, if you will, because we have a little thumbnail graphic that goes up to, highlight the show on YouTube. We'll use it on social media and that sort of thing. And I was looking for the perfect picture of either that or Colt Keith rounding the bases for his first career home run, and couldn't find either. So no disrespect, Kenta Maeda's on the thumbnail today, but he wasn't my first choice. But you know what? I couldn't find the exact photo I was looking at, so there you have it. I was looking for one of Guerrero getting thrown out at the plate, or Colt Keith, couldn't find either. So Kenta Maeda, 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, did not allow a run, and had 1 strikeout, did not walk a batter. So was able to pitch to contact. But that's a great point, because I think that, like, similar, you could even make the case similar to last night, where the Tigers had a player thrown out at home and it kind of halted the momentum that tied the game up at 1 in that example. But from there, the Blue Jays went on and scored the next 8 runs. Yeah. So I'm looking at the box score from yesterday. My memory is absolutely terrible. I know it was Javi Baez that Wenzel Perez hit it. Javi Baez scored, and I can't for the life of me remember who was rounding home. Or was thrown out at home. I know last night, somebody can help me out in the comments there. But just like it halted some momentum for the Tigers, I thought tonight that halted some momentum as well. Oh, it was Carson Kelly. Yeah, Carson Kelly was thrown out at home. So there we go. Doug Warnke, the day after I cancel Bally, they win. Oh no, Doug, I'm sorry to hear that, but hey, I don't blame you for canceling Bally. And maybe that your canceling of Bally Sports is what this Tigers team needed to get their act together. So in a weird roundabout way, we thank you for canceling your Bally Sports subscription, because that helped propel the Tigers to victory. Anything for the team. So Doug says he missed his boy Colt Keith's first home run. Yeah, it was cool. It was cool to see. You feel good for a guy like Colt Keith getting his first career home run, the monkey off the back. And as we've been talking about Colt Keith pretty consistently over the course of the last handful of games, he's starting to look like the player we saw in spring training, just so much more confident at the plate. We talked about the multiple 3-hit games on the road trip, now come back in the second game of the homestand, and he launches his first career big fly. Things you love to see. That's what you can chalk it up as. Things you love to see. Colt Keith continuing to come into his own, bust out of that early season slump, play with more confidence, have a better approach at the plate, all chalked up to more productive at-bats. So you love to see that all the way. Kerry Carpenter also got in on the action tonight, his 6th home run of the season. I thought that was one of the, and maybe I'm probably not alone in this, but off the bat, when you just know it's a no doubt about her, and at Comerica Park, from a left-hander, it's fun to see it rise up into the seats there, and a right-hander too, but you got the bullpen barrier there. And I just love to see how far up in the seats in right field does that no doubt about her home run go. And, Kerry Carpenter will hit one further than that, but it was cool to see it chalked. It was tape measured at 410 for his 6th home run of the season. Mark Canha scored in that one. So good to see Kerry Carpenter using the long ball. And altogether, 6 runs isn't a whole heck of a lot, but for this Tigers team, and again, based on the way the pitching staff has performed, the way this team is built, 6 runs is a lot, and you win a lot of games with 6 runs, and that's what the Tigers were able to put forth tonight. So that said, everybody's in a better mood when you win. The broadcast is better, the postcast is better, and Doug, I'm sorry you canceled Bally Sports, but I certainly understand as well. Maybe you caught the game on the radio, but either way, Tigers get the win tonight. things you love to see. 6-2, played really well, especially defensively. 2 runs there in the 9th for the Blue Jays. It started to get a little bit nerve-wracking as the Blue Jays had 2 on, even with the final out. And I do like the move from AJ Hinch going to the bullpen there. I'm sure Andrew Chafin would have been fine to close it out, but hey, this team's on a 5-game losing streak. Let's not mess around any. Let's get that final out, get the victory, and move on to the next 2 games in the series and have a chance to take the series. And that's exactly what you saw from Jason Foley. So not a ton of work from Foley, but hey, he gets credited with his 11th save of the season by retiring the only batter he faced. One player in the 9th inning to get that 11th save. But again, doesn't have to be pretty. You just got to figure out a way to get the victory, and that's exactly what we saw tonight. Jason Walter with the W in the comments. Yeah, everybody type W in the comments. Big win for the Tigers to end that 5-game losing streak and send the fans home happy at Comerica Park, because that's a big part of this as well. We talked about it the last couple of nights, just starting to lose interest in this Tigers team because there was no reason to, just in the very purest form of being a fan, there was nothing exciting about the brand of baseball that this Tigers team was playing. There was nothing that was drawing you in as a viewer to want to support this baseball team that was playing bad baseball. They were hard to root for. They were losing every game. They weren't scoring. They were giving up a lot of runs. You chalk it all up, and it's just not fun to be a part of. And if people find other things to do with their free time, I don't blame them. But tonight was a good reminder that, hey, maybe this team can figure it out a little bit. Maybe this team can get hot, start stockpiling wins, winning series, and continue to progress in the season. But we're going to continue to break it down. We'll talk more specifically about Kenta Maeda's start and what we liked and what we saw. And he only went 5 innings. But again, first start back after a brief stint on the injured list. So don't go anywhere. That's coming up in just a moment. All right, today's show made possible by Ibotta. That's right, Ibotta. Listen up. You guys like cash. I like cash. That's for sure. Spring is here. We're moving into the summer months. And you know what? It's out with the old and in with the new. Don't splurge on anything new without getting cash back in return when you use Ibotta. This spring, whether it's you're buying flowers, maybe you're buying something for a loved one, someone you care about. We all spend money, right? And when you use Ibotta, you can watch your cash back grow with every single purchase you make. Ibotta is a free app that gives you the most cash back every time you shop on hundreds of items, from groceries to beauty supplies to toys, so you can make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. Because we all buy stuff, right? The average Ibotta user earns $256 extra in your pocket per year. That's on average. Some could earn more, some could earn a little bit less. And that could cover the cost of an entire shopping trip, maybe even an entire grocery trip. And hey, I'm not telling you how to spend your money, but that could also buy a few adult pops for the weekend, if you will. So whatever you're purchasing, make sure you've got the Ibotta app to get some cash back. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 just for trying Ibotta by using the code LOCKEDONMLB when you register. Just go to the App Store or Google Play, download the free Ibotta app, and start earning cash back using that code LOCKEDONMLB. That's IBOTTA in the Google Play or App Store, and use code LOCKEDONMLB. It's that easy. Today's show also made possible by Supply House. That's right. You can get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades, supplyhouse.com. Supplyhouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products all online in the comfort of your own home. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product information to help you get the job done right. That's important, getting the job done right. Just like the Tigers got the job done tonight. You can shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. That's important as well. No matter where you're at in the US of A, we've got you covered. That's right. Need help with an order? Get expert and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business and talk to a real person every time. Pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining the supplyhouse.com's free Trade Master program. Every trade master gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at supplyhouse.com/TM. That's right, supplyhouse.com/TM, and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at supplyhouse.com. All right, we got a couple more people joining us on the live YouTube stream. Everybody getting their comments heard. That's what it's about, because, again, this is your place for instant Tigers reaction on YouTube, Locked On Sports Detroit. Make sure you subscribe. And then if you miss an episode, that's right, the audio-only version available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. All part of the Locked On Network, and it's free as well, and you can always watch on YouTube as well. Mary Jo Isaacson, our favorite, chiming in. It's great to have fireworks after a Tigers win. That's right, the Isaacson crew, my grandparents at the game, they love themselves some Friday night fireworks at Comerica Park, and of course, it's more enjoyable when the team gets a W. Great stuff there. So Kenta Maeda was good tonight. 5 innings, 4 hits, did not allow a run, and 1 strikeout. We thought, and I shouldn't say we thought, but the pitch count would be part of the equation anytime somebody's making a start after missing some time. So nothing crazy, 74 pitches, 49 of them for strikes. He was attacking the zone, keeping Blue Jay hitters off balance, and his defense made some plays behind him. And you chalk that up to the type of pitcher that Kenta Maeda can be. And again, hand up, I'm plenty capable of admitting when I'm wrong. And the decision the Tigers made, obviously, to send Matt Manning down to the minor leagues to pitch in AAA and bring Kenta Maeda back to the roster immediately, shows I was wrong about Matt Manning, or at least I thought differently about Matt Manning than AJ Hinch and the rest of this Tigers organization. So down goes Matt Manning to AAA, and Kenta Maeda is back. And listen, I've been critical of Maeda, and he pitched 5 innings of scoreless baseball tonight. Again, I can put my hand up when I'm wrong. So this is me, hand up. I was wrong on that one. But I think it's more of me wanting so badly Matt Manning to be good based on the investment the Tigers made in him, based on him being a first-round draft pick. So when I see him, flip-flopping between the bigs and AAA, it just gets a little frustrating. You feel like, okay, when is this guy going to pan out? Because again, this is just, I don't want him to join the long list of failed Tigers draft picks. So that said, it's good. I'm never going to complain about a win. I'm never going to complain. It's not that I have anything against Kenta Maeda, because again, he was good tonight. And until the 9th inning, the Tigers bullpen was good, and they did enough to win the game. And ultimately, that's what we're all rooting for. I'm not going to be in a bad mood like I was yesterday. And again, apologies, because I was in a sour mood after yesterday's game. Anybody that's around me will attest to that, because it just felt like yesterday was a low point in the season. The 5-game losing streak, everything was snowballing, and on top of that, AJ Hinch's comments really irritated me about the competitive thing after the sweep in Kansas City. And credit to my guy, Jeff Rieger, who doubled down on asking AJ Hinch about those competitive comments and having a problem with that after yesterday's game, and post-game show going on right now. So I always like to go back on the X, the Twitter, or whatever it is, and hear AJ Hinch's comments. But Rieger actually asked him about having a problem with the question of being competitive, because AJ Hinch's response was he had a problem with equating wins and losses to the level of effort. So we're getting into semantics of the word competitiveness. I understand the question of, hey, you just lost 3 games by 17 runs. Then you lost again yesterday by 8 runs. That's not competitive baseball. But AJ Hinch protecting his guys, saying, hey, they're trying, they're going through it right now. They're going to lose some games. The effort is there. So we're not going to split hairs about all that. It's just, I guess it's just it is the demeanor of AJ Hinch, the body, it's the way he is. And I'm not going to change that. Who am I? I'm a nobody. I'm not, I didn't understand him taking exception with the fact of the matter was the Tigers were really bad over that 3-game series against the Royals and in general. But again, I'm getting way too far into it. I just appreciate someone like Rieger that's going to do the job and ask the question to the manager that we all want to hear, despite what his reaction might be. Rieger's always been that way. When I was in the Tigers clubhouse, I prided myself in being that way. I can remember one time last year, AJ Hinch did not like my question about something. It was when the Tigers were on that really long losing streak, and I just asked, are any changes coming to the lineup? And apparently that was the wrong question to ask. But anyways, Matt Wood in the comments right now, the 2012 Tigers were 20-24 on May 24th. That's a great reminder. I think Caputo pointed that out as well, that this Tigers team has a very similar record at the end of the month of May that the 2012 Tigers team did that went to the World Series. So with the win today, Tigers win over the Blue Jays 6-2. They're now 24-27. So 3 games under 500. And Matt, I'm going to double check. That sounds right, but the Tigers were 4 games under 500 on May 24th in 2012 when they went to the World Series. So don't listen to me. Season's not over. Season's not over. Born Cool chiming in. If Keith can stay hot and green and torque, get going, we could be all right. Yeah, there's a lot of pressure. Riley Green had a nice double today. I tweeted this out. I just think he looks awkward when he runs. And that's probably mean to say, but he just doesn't look that athletic. I know he's a great athlete, and he's probably the best player, all-around player on this Tigers team, albeit he has slumped as of late. But good to see Riley Green get back in the hit column, 1 for 4 today. 2 RBI from Kerry Carpenter on the 2-run bomb. 2 RBI for Colt Keith. He had the home run, first of his career. And McKinstry had that RBI. He had a hit as well. But do just enough offensively to give this team a chance to win. And that's exactly what we saw tonight. So Tigers win this one 6-2 over the Toronto Blue Jays. We'll wrap it up with studs and duds. So during the commercial break, be thinking of your studs and duds for me, and we will tie a bow on this one. Tigers get the win, 24-27 on the season now, 6-2 over the Blue Jays. Don't go anywhere. We wrap it up with studs and duds when we come back. All right, it's time to tell you all about America's #1 sports book. That is FanDuel. We all know about FanDuel, right? Absolutely. It's winner take all time in the NBA and the NHL. FanDuel's giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own right now. Listen up, right now. New customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. All you have to do is win on a $5 bet. Now, I know yesterday I told you, hey, just bet against the Tigers. Maybe that was a little dramatic, and after a 5-game losing streak, maybe now the Tigers start to put some games and some wins in a row, so you take the Tigers on the money line. It's all up to you. All you got to do is one winning bet of $5 and you receive $150 in bonus bets. $5 bet, win it. New customers, you get $150 in bonus bets. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and so much more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. All right, we wrap it up with studs and duds. Our first stud of the night's got to be Colt Keith. I mean, he not finally, that sounds mean, but kind of finally. I mean, May 24th, pretty much an everyday player. Yes, he gets his first home run of the season. And again, I don't want to be too repetitive here, but let's hope that continues to bring the confidence for him at the plate, because he's starting to show that he can be a really, really good player and an everyday player, and what this Tigers team was counting on him. Again, the multiple 3-hit games and now the home run today. I think we're starting to see the proof in the pudding, and hopefully his worst days are behind him and he can just start to focus on baseball. And I've said this before. I know not everybody watches every single Locked On Tigers postcast, but he seems, and this is just from a distance, this is just watching every day, reading things, that the great beat writers put together for the Tigers, the Free Press and the Detroit News and MLB.com. The Tigers have some awesome beat writers, and just talking about when Colt Keith was going through the struggles, he deleted all of his social media and he tried to block everything out. And being thrust into the big leagues, that's a lot of pressure. And when the expectations of the fan base are as high as they were on Colt Keith, I think, and again, this is just my speculation, and I've said this before, but I think he felt the weight of being a rookie that was underperforming at the early portion of this season, which is why you could kind of see it in the body language, the slumped shoulders, not playing with that excitement and that confidence that it takes to be successful at the big league level. So let's hope those days are behind him, and it's more of what we've seen in the most recent sampling size from Colt Keith. So first stud of the night, Colt Keith, first career home run, had 2 RBI. Kerry Carpenter, 2-run bomb, no doubt about it. Great to see it. He's quietly starting to come back after a strong start, then hit a little bit of a lull, and now here we are, which is, again, chalk it up under things you'll love to see for the Detroit Tigers. Because one thing about Kerry Carpenter as a left-handed bat, obviously any bat in this offense is valuable, but for Kerry Carpenter to be the guy that you hope could be a presence in the middle of the order for AJ Hinch, to be able to consistently go to him for that power in the middle of the order would be incredible. And maybe I'm putting too much stock into it, but I'm sorry. I said it was his 6th home run of the season. It was his 7th home run of the season. I take it back. Fake news. It was his 7th home run of the season, a 2-run shot. And for Colt Keith, he opened the scoring with that solo shot. So that said, those are our 2 offensive studs, and let's give some credit to Kenta Maeda. 2nd win of the season. He's now 2-1, 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, did not allow a single run, struck out 1, 74 pitches, 49 of them for strikes. ERA now down to 5.80. So there you have it, the 3 studs. I don't think there's any duds in tonight's game. The 2 runs from Chafin given up in the 9th ruins the shutout, spoils the shutout, however you want to put it. But based on what we've seen over the course of the last week, I'm not going to get too fired up and too crazy about the 2 runs. That said, just like we've said a couple of times in the recent past, the bullpen, the hot start is kind of behind us. And now all of a sudden we're seeing a little bit of a struggle from the bullpen for the Detroit Tigers. And, it's one of those things like tonight, it doesn't hurt you. And it's one of those things that doesn't hurt you till it does. And then wins are too difficult right now for the Tigers to come by to even be hinting at a bullpen spoiling some wins. And yes, that's part of the game. That's part of life in the major leagues. There's going to be times where the bullpen loses a game for you. I go back to that game against the Yankees that kind of started another shuffle for the Tigers in the losing column, where they lost that Friday night game 1-0, or they were up 1-0 and then lost it 2-1 in the 9th. But that's just one example. There's been plenty of examples where the bullpen's been really, really good. A couple more comments to get to. Doug Warnke saying, I missed the game, but I've said from day one that this team can be dangerous when they play well in all 3 phases, hitting, pitching, and defense. Yeah, Doug, I hope you're with us every single night on Locked On Tigers POSTCAST, because that is exactly how I feel as well, which is what's been so frustrating, because there's winning pieces to this team. As when you look at the body of work of what this pitching staff has done, at times what the bullpen's done, it's just a matter of, can the offense do enough to be competitive? Last several games they hadn't, and the pitching was really bad. But that's going to happen too. But in general, I always go back to what's the Spark Notes version of this team? What's the summary of this team? If you had to tell someone about the Detroit Tigers on an elevator in 30 seconds or less, you'd say, hey, they got great starting pitching. Bullpen's been good at times. Defense has been a little bit up and down, but for the most part, fine. There's just no offense, and that's why they lose games. But tonight, 6 runs. Pitching does their job. Kenta Maeda, 5 innings of shutout baseball. Blue Jays scratch across 2 in the 9th there, but does not matter. Tigers get the win 6-2. And tomorrow, by all indications, we'll see Reese Olson for the Tigers and Jose Berrios for the Blue Jays. First pitch tomorrow. That is a Saturday game at 1:10. So make sure you're tuned into that. We'll be on the air immediately following that game. Reese Olson trying to get his first win. Oh, I meant to say this earlier. If you're like me and you watch a lot of the national shows, I watch the Dan Patrick Show every day. They were talking about Reese Olson on the Dan Patrick Show today, that he has one of the best ERAs, but still no win. Somebody called in with the stat. It's the first time since 1901 that somebody with his quality stats does not have a win to this point in the season. And I don't remember exactly to go off verbatim of ERA and whiff and walks and whip, walks, hits for innings pitched, this, that, and the other. But the pitching stats are there. Nobody's had better stats than Reese Olson without a win. So tomorrow is the day, 1:10 first pitch. Join us immediately following that. And we'll continue going on with Locked On Tigers POSTCAST. I'm getting some I'm taking strays in the comments for my hat today. Okay, I wear something different every single day on the show. You see the hats in the backdrop, well represented with the Tigers, Pistons, and Lions in the backdrop. But this is why I'm wearing a hat, because the hair is crazy right now. But this is one of my favorite golf courses in Hayward, California, in the Bay, called TPC Stonebrae. Great buddy of mine got me this hat. So I'm going to rep different hats. I'm a huge golf fan. Everybody knows that. And I'm going to wear different hats based on some of my favorite golf courses of where I played. So this one's from TPC Stonebrae. Shout out Dom Carriel, who got me this hat. And it's one of the best golf courses I've ever played. So, Sage, I hope you're all right with that explanation, but anytime I go to a new golf course, one of the things I often buy is a hat. So I'll be wearing different hats on the show throughout the course of Locked On Tigers POSTCAST. Hope that's all right. Jason Walter, Flying Tigers scored more against yeah, I did see that stat that the Flying Tigers have been all over it offensively. All right. That said, as we're going to wrap this one up tonight, thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. As always, a pleasure to be on the air with you. Born Cool, I see your comment. We'll get some odds for the next game. All you have to do for those odds, go to FanDuel.com. Download the app yourself. Use that code LOCKEDONMLB if you want to see the odds. But I get what I'm picking up what you're putting down there. So thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. That's going to do it for this edition of Locked On Tigers POSTCAST. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at Jake_Riepma. Make sure you subscribe to the show. Tigers get the win over the Blue Jays 6-2. More fun tomorrow. Tigers with Reese Olson on the mound. Blue Jays 1:10 first pitch. Join us after that. Until then, have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you next time on Locked On Tigers POSTCAST.